I want to say that is there is a necessity of all this destruction? Why these scientists are in these documentaries only made for fear? Is there is a necessity? Why they haven't made this collective conscious drown in the dirt when there is a war on Afghanistan, when there's a war on Iraq? What these scientists were doing then? The collective conscious is not at all about this. We don't have to see distraction to elevate ourselves. Humanity is always in interaction with the soul of the universe. The ethos of the we have to receive that. These scientists have to tell the truth to awake humanity, not to give fake incidents to elevate the collective soul. What about the war on Afghanistan? What about the war on Iraq? What about the killing, the murder of these scientists, beautiful souls? Of they are doing it from thousands of why they haven't told that about how the collective conscious works, and people will elevate and do not and will not kill anymore. We don't need a satellite for that. It's just our soul which have to elevate. So these documentaries, I'll say, were made to say again that after any destruction, the love will elevate in all, and humanity will come in a collective consciousness, and that is up and that is down. We don't have to do that. It is always there. Just we have to receive the knowledge. These scientists have to tell the truth, come out and tell the truth in what they have seen, what they know about everything. So every scientist know about everything. So those who want to speak are silenced. So this is my gratitude to all the scientists, the departed soul of Dr. Fakhrizadeh, that this shouldn't be happen again. This should stop. There should be peace always. We don't need to do these type of documentaries. The humanity is a collective consciousness and is working, but we have to understand to choose. How we choose, that depends on what we choose. We don't need a satellite or nothing. We are in the plasma dimension talking about. So this is what I want to say, that many of these documentaries are really very very irritating and fearful, I will say. They are not spreading love. They are making another trap for humanity by giving way, hiding behind the love and truth veil, you know behind the god. So this is what I want to say, that we have to understand, as humanity is collective, and in a way we are in the path of the ethos of the universal creator, the universal soul. So I must say that peace is through the interaction of the two souls of the humanity and the universal soul. So these scientists don't have to tell us that two towers in fakery, they dropped it and all the human consciousness fall. They didn't see the truth. They didn't even search about it. So this shouldn't be happening again. We have to be very, I mean, in a way, we have to be careful what we wish for, because if we are wishing on behalf of all humanity, as we are all connected in the oneness. So this is what I want to say. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I come here and I explain to you something that opens the eyes of a lot of you into different type of assassination? Uh, we see it in the murder of a scientist, and in the past 10 years we've seen with character assassination. You've seen how after trying to do the job they did, they could not succeed. They went for character assassination and using internet. And now we see it again. A new cycle of character assassination has started again by the Belgians on my life, and is well organized. They could not touch the sign. They don't talk about the technology. They're going into character or personality. And they are very thin on the ground. Very soon, people look at the technology, not the character assassination. But this is the other way they do now. If you look, what we've seen in past 5 months, especially past 4 weeks, is direct instruction by the leadership of the nation to use to character assassinate this third cycle on the Keshe Foundation and my personal life. And this is the type they can't get, then they ban. We've seen the same thing on Huawei. If you look at the Huawei, and the lady in Canada was actually a decoy. The main scientist was killed in the United States the night before. He was thrown out of the window, a leading Chinese scientist. And they do not care what they do. As long as they get their way, they kill to do physical assassination. We've seen in Iran, we do character assassination, what is done on me now, especially in past 3 weeks. And then what we saw with Huawei. It is a way that mankind has chosen to go about their lives. They don't talk about thousands of lives we saved when we're saving, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. They go for personal character, trying to destroy, trying to mud. But in fact, they are nothing but prostitutes serving their nations. These assassins are nothing but get paid to do a job. Mercenaries. And how we can change this is not by retaliating, is by elevating. It's not by trying to get maybe 1,000, 2,000 people, but elevating millions. And these things go away. It's something we have to look with a new eye, new ways, and in a way give to the soul of our enemies. So it is a way of not only thinking what we do, is thinking what we can do to change the course. And it's all Western nations' business who are in this game. And what gives the right to any of these nations to do so? The Chinese do it as well, the same as the Japanese. Japanese have killed many, many scientists. An estimated 200 scientists have been killed in the past 5 years, all by car accident, 80%. There are scientists who produce very simple chemical solutions that can endanger pharmaceuticals. It's changing the humanity, the course of humanity, which is what is now the main objective of the work. And if we understand it, then we can take it a step further in how to structure their way by themselves to end their own jobs. And sooner or later, we achieve it. We need to understand that many of these people, what they call assassins, are kept for years in a cupboard, as we say. And they're popped out, do their jobs, and they pop off. We have to become wise to it. Now, assassinations are not the way we see it. And strange enough, is mainly done on scientists on the edge of technologies, companies on the edge of technologies. And this is one of the most amazing things which we see.
Would you mind if I shared your words from last Thursday
Please go
on
ahead.
this subject?
Today's workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning, good night to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers workshops of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. As we see, we are back in 357 times without failure to teach, to expand the knowledge, and to promote the science. As we have seen in the past years, scientists have become the victim of the world leaders and those who judge they are more than scientists. As I've written many times and taught many times, the station of the scientist is equal to the prophet of God. The prophet brings guidance for behavior of the man. Scientists bring knowledge for living of the man. To this level, we have seen another atrocity by one nation or other, or collection of nations, on another leading scientist, another Iranian nuclear plasma scientist, devoted to extend the knowledge of the man into every aspect. The scientist worked very much on the same level as me in the plasma technology and in the direction of expanding the knowledge. Unfortunately, he was gone down last Friday, and this is a killing of another prophet. I have one word to say to the nations who think is right to do this, as I have been a victim of bombing, shooting, poisoning, killing of our assistants and the rest of it. These things has to stop. These atrocities, but different nations under a different banner to protect and promote their violence has to stop. We mourn as one nation the loss of another scientist in the hand of whatever nation, color and race who has carried this out. Indications are is a collective work of 3 nations. We have opened exactly who are involved, and in time, Keshe Foundation will make sure these nations will be deprived of knowledge. It's very simple. We elevate the soul of the man, as killing up to now has not done any good for any of us. Man has killed for thousands of years. Man has killed enemies, brothers and sisters. What for? Just to justify that they can. The time of killing has come to an end. And in so many ways, The punishment of the nations who carry this is not receiving the knowledge for them and their citizens. We see the fingerprint of this murder again directly connected to the state of Belgium. We see this again directly connected to the state of Israel. We see this set up and executed by those who operate in northern part of Asia in collaboration with another nation called Turkey. These three nations have to understand what is the consequence of killing scientists. And in turn, we open the books, and in turn these nations will pay for their conduct. We respect and we give our condolences to his family, to the nation of Iran, and to one planet, one nation. As we all are his citizens. We have played a video to pay respect and homage to this scientist. He worked extremely hard on a COVID-19 in releasing a new solution. He worked extremely hard on plasma technology in space and development. So many people who knew him and his work have compared him with my work and my way of working. Moment of silence is to elevate the soul of the man. Memory of the man is to elevate him the whole time he exists in the realm of the creation. I would like to ask Rick if we can play the video which we have made by the Iranian Keshe Foundation in paying respect to the scientist who was murdered in a crueler way than they tried to kill me and they killed Fabio. We come to one position. Does mankind needs to kill? And in time we shall show. These things has come to an end. This is a face of a highly intellectual scientist in nuclear plasma technology. Exactly the field I work. Why do they kill nuclear physicists and only Iranian? Is one solution. We are too far ahead, we are too good, and we are expanding knowledge of man too fast that other nations do not want their citizens to be educated, that they could find a way of freedom into space and new understanding. Professor Mohsen Fakhrizadeh is one of the leading scientists in the space technology, in rocket propulsion and plasma propulsion, and many other aspects. As he believed the same as me, to go to space we have to develop a full spectrum of knowledge. We pay homage to his life, and could you please play?
قتل یکی از بزرگترین دانشمندان اتمی ایران رو و همکار و دوستان عزیز رو به تمام ملت ایران تسلیت عرض میکنم.
در زمانی که میبینیم خیلی هامون داریم سبقت میگیریم در ثروتمند شدن و همین سبقت ها و همین چشم هاست که سبب میشه اختلاس بکنیم فلان و فلان و فلان و کاخ بر خودمون بسازیم، قصر بر خودمون بسازیم، خانه‌های آنچنانی درست. ولی میبینیم که هنوز هم وجود دارند عزیزانی که پشت به همه چیز دارند. کسی شهید میشه که در زمان حیاتش شهید شده. به حیاتشون که نگاه میکنیم ببینید واقعا حیات است. چه خبره؟ نمیفهمیم. من که نمیفهمم چه خبره؟ ولی الان چی؟ آیا در باب شهادت بسته شد که رویشم شکسته شد؟ نه.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
با ریختن خون عزیز ما تایید شد انقلاب ما. بکشید ما را، ملت ما بیدارتر می شود. ما از مرگ نمی ترسیم و شما هم از مرگ ما صرفه ندارید.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والسماء والطارق وما أدراك ما الطارق النجم الثاقب إن كل نفس لما عليها فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق خلق من ماء دافق يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب إنه على وجهه لقادر يوم تبلى السرائر فما له من قوة ولا ناصر
قتل یکی از بزرگترین دانشمندای اتمی ایران رو و همکار و دوستان عزیز رو به تمام ملت ایران تسلیت عرض میکنم.
A light out on another life who served humanity. We are not the only nation which has suffered this way in the hand of state killing and big corporation killing. When they cannot get, or when it's too advanced, they cannot reach to understand, they blame it for all. 5 of the top 1,000 scientists of China has been murdered in the same way in past 2 or 3 years. Number of the European scientists have been killed the same way, by the side road, a bombing, blowing a tire, and then bullet in the head. A number of American scientists have been killed the same way. And we see the pattern. As I was told by the guy who was my knowledge seeker from the shameful state of Belgium, sitting in front of me, saying that we blow your tire and then we put a bullet in your head, Mr. Keshe. I sat with my assassin in front of me the day before assassination with a hat, because he was too scared to look into my eye. When I asked the security, he said he's come to kill you. He's too afraid how to handle you when he faces you. He's come to get rid of his own fear. And the next day they turned up. I've spoken with the family of these victims. They get terrorized that they don't even want to talk about. The founder of the computer compression system, which we all enjoy, his son lives in absolute poverty in the state of Netherlands, where they stole, and then his pattern broke up, and then it appeared in a number of companies and under the name of many people which we come to know. Those who developed the first water engine, twin brothers, again given poison on the table by Belgians, and one brother died, as he would not give his technology. Same as me and many other scientists. This state-sponsored killing has to stop. Maybe the murder of this scientist is the point to start. But elevating the soul of the nations and its citizens and its leaders. Maybe it's time to bring this back on the table. We wish for the end of wars. We wish for the end of killing of the scientists. What will happen if these people realize when they do this, what their children and their grandchildren have to pay for the misconduct of the father who carries out these murders? As you know, we have received a new threat on my life, and we are waiting. I'm on the line, like this professor, in the next 30 days to be executed or killed, sponsored by the Iranian government on the threat we received. Why our own nations put the threat out on us is another point. Is it because we are bringing a nation so fast to understand? That's another point. As I explained, anyone touches me, I wipe out the nations. Forget about the family. In a very pure way, in a very clean way, but elevating the soul, where the physicality will be ashamed to take shape. Touch me, and I'll touch your inner being and inner soul. At the same time, my call goes to the world leaders. Stop the killing of the world scientists. Stop the destruction of the man development in a faster way to a higher level of understanding the work of the Creator. In so many ways, we all stand on the same path. We are the light. We are that beacon which brings man home one step closer to the Creator. The understanding of the work of the Creator does not matter if our feeble mind does not understand. State-sponsored murders by different nations and other nations has to stop. And even sponsored murder by the leaders of one nation and their own scientists has to stop. What will be the next step in man understanding more? Why do our leaders have fear of these things is beyond many people's comprehension. We have seen state-sponsored terror and terrorist activities long and long, not only on the scientists, but the head of corporation families. We've seen the same state-sponsored terrorism on the family of Howie in Canada. Exactly the way I was captured, held for 11 days and threatened to be killed every day by Canadian national securities in the airport. This time, the lady had the money. She's free to go home, but with a false allegation and the same. Just because Huawei is years ahead of American scientists. American scientists are a collection of the world scientists who their knowledge is not valued much because it's stolen and terrorized by the others. They terrorize every nation. If they don't have, you are a terrorist nation. Iranian scientists are 50 years minimum ahead of American scientists in plasma technology, nanotechnology, and combination of the space development. I am one, and I'm thousands of years ahead of all. But I respect the territory of Iran and the territory of this planet and the universe as I share knowledge freely with all. The Prime Minister of Iran, what I call the false Prime Minister Ahmadinejad, always came with one rhetoric which was shameful to the Iranian nation. That we have to see the end of one state. The new way is we have to elevate that state to become ashamed of their own conduct. Not to eliminate, because we cannot take part of this planet out. But we can elevate them to be ashamed of their own conduct. My praise and my wish is, and will go to the Prime Minister of Israel, Mr. Netanyahu. I hope your soul gets elevated that finds no dimension in the physical life of this planet. The same goes for your daughters and your sons. The elevation of the soul to leave the dimension of physicality will become so painful for those who do not want the elevation. But they have to understand, when Christ said, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, did not mean to pull and destroy, take eye for an eye. Was to elevate the soul of the man, that he sees with the eye of the soul of the man the misconduct of the man, and become ashamed of his own conduct. So, Mr. Netanyahu, I have one message for you. I wish the elevation of your soul, and especially your siblings and your children and those who call yours. I hope you see many bright lights where you are so dim that your soul wishes that never misconducted. And I wish the same for your bloodline, as long as it exists. Sponsoring, terrorizing many scientists has to become forbidden and become equal to murder. And the heads of the states have to respond and be responsible by their soul from now on, not by the courts of man-made who they can cover themselves. I was in China when the Chinese scientists, top leaders, were assassinated. But the state of terror by these hooligans of the scientists made one thing much more hard for all the scientists: to work harder to make sure that they don't win. They cannot take over the others. Does the mankind need to suffer more by lack of understanding, or would we have executed Pascal, Tesla, and many other people who brought their knowledge as scientists and they devoted their lives to serve humanity? My wish goes to the leaders of the state of Belgium. I wish the same elevation for your daughters and your bloodline. Elevation of their soul will teach you how to become humble. The elevation of the soul of the present and the past leaders of these nations need to be understood, that there is nothing but the greed of the physicality and the misconduct of total lack of understanding of their own existence. I have one wish, that this killing of the scientists stops, as I wonder if the state of Israel leaders would have executed and murdered Moses, or the Christian leaders would have put a bullet in the head of Christ. And then we see the saying from Islamic world, if they would have done with Muhammad. When you think to kill or to structure the murder of a scientist, think of two things from now on. The moment you think, from now you pay with your soul, and those who you have created, and those who have created you, you pay collectively for the elevation of the soul. But the elevation of the soul will be so much that you become nothing but the black dust in the universe and in the living. Maybe the world leaders understand. As of today, murder of any scientist is payable by the soul of the man who think of it. and those who carry it out. Let us see which nations will pay for first. What is interesting, we see in the ethos and the head of the new American administration, science. Is this another way to promote science, or is it another way to find the scientists who are elevating and to murder? We'll leave that with the new administration in the United States and Mr. Biden, and see if it's of the same blood and the same way. We have to realize, during the administration as a Vice President of the United States, more wars and killing was incited than any other time. My wish is that the ways of the Vice Presidentship does not carry its way into presidentship on the banner of the science to kill more scientists. The truth hurts, but the reality is, paying for it, it will hurt more.
The floor is open for anyone who'd like to share.
Mark, hi, it's Dean here. I'd just like to thank Mr. Keshe for his bravery and his steadfastness for coming forward for humanity, for being there and putting his physicality, his whole being forward to aid humanity's progression. Many people have come forward in the past, many prophets, many people, and they had a certain amount of knowledge. But Mr. Keshe's knowledge is, as we know, universal. And I do believe that he's created the conditions on this planet that will change this planet. The souls on this planet are about to become one, really become one. And from the words that are just spoken, anybody even thinks about conceiving a weapon of murder within just a thought will be elevated. And I think that elevation will go all the way through all the family, all their family. So I think it's very important for these souls to be very wise and be very beautiful, and come to the conclusion that peace is the only way, because now we've come to a position of truth, the real truth of humanity, and the time for humanity to be part of the universal community. The moment is now, and I thank you, Mr. Keshe, for the beauty of your soul. Bless your soul. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, and it's the same when Christ was crucified. Those who did it thought they got rid of the man because they got rid of the physicality of the man. But then, of course, they had to deal with his soul. Feel free to share your emotions and your thoughts, please.
Mark, it's Dean again. I feel that, as I've just pointed out, we've been dealing with this condition on this planet for far, far too long. And we've allowed it to happen through our own ignorance, through our own lack of knowledge. And the knowledge is now being given for the whole of us, all of us, to step forward as one and to change the condition. Mr. Keshe has created the conditions for humanity to elevate. And so it's just a wish and an intention from all of us, because we all need to start to understand. I think that the panelists and that the attendees are starting to understand the power of the soul, with the intentions of this collective here tonight, today, and this morning. We can come together as a soul and change the conditions. We already have. Our intentions are peace, and so I do believe that, not believe, I know this peace is here within our hearts, within our soul, and within humanity, because we are humanity, and we are part of the universal community, and the universal community is very peaceful, and always has been, and they've always been there for us, and they are here for us now. They're all around us. So we just need to be still and accept the condition of the elevation of our own souls, to give to those souls that need the elevation. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Dean. And as we were just taught by Alex and of course Mr. Keshe's knowledge, that we can use our own souls and our own reactors within the structure that we're in to accomplish this. Many people will think, well, that's a murder, I had nothing to do with it, but yet you can help to elevate. I see Jefferson has his hand up. Would you like to say something, Jefferson?
Hello, Mark. Thank you very much. This is Jefferson Rodriguez from Brazil. Hello to everyone. Hello, Professor Mr. Keshe. I would like to say something about killing scientists. Back into 2003, we had in Brazil, Mr. Keshe probably knows much better than I do, or many of you, we had one accident called Tragedy of Alcântara. Alcântara is the launch pad for satellites. Probably is the best place in the world due to the position in the equator. So any rocket can reach the higher altitude, spending very low fuel and put it all of a cargo loading instead of fuel. In 2003, 3 days before a launch that could put some research from Amazon forest in the orbit, they were all projects from Brazil. And to make it good, Brazil is a peaceful country. And 3 days before the launch has happened one explosion that killed 21 people immediately. All of them just disappeared from the face of the earth instantaneously. 18 of these top scientists from Brazil in the airspace technology, they were all died, plus 3 technicians that were working there. I know because all of them lived or were living in the city where I live in Brazil. There is São José dos Campos. There is a city where we have the, let's say, the brain of technological and development of the science, a little bit, let's say, advanced. And since 2003, we have no one world, or better, one word about what happened. It could be an accident that could happen. But the problem is, after 17 years, no research, there were no investigations about what really happened there. So we lost all of them. And probably the government gave a tip for the family to keep them quiet or whatsoever. So I just would like to remind this, because we must protect them. I give the question back. How can we protect our scientists in the world beside elevating the soul of those people who are always trying to finish with them? That's what I would like to share. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jefferson. I wasn't aware of that story, but I do know Brazil has a very advanced space program. Even currently today, they're one of the top 4 countries. There are 5 countries in the world in space development. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Welcome.
I think that we have to write something together, universal council, but also all the people, and to send to, I don't know where to send. It is a scientific institution at universal level, which can take care of this. I know at European level, but I don't know if it is one at universal level, and a tribunal, because we have to ask to use the justice, the legislation, how to protect. We have to protect, but the law, not only the divine law, but this law, natural laws. And I think that Iranian government will take the case into the court. I don't know which court, maybe Great Britain, I don't know. But we, as seekers of knowledge, we have to react, to do something. It's good, we think, and we will believe that we will achieve our results, but we have to know what we have to do. And this is my question. What we have to do, each of us. It's not enough to do only one person. Each of us has to do something in this real world.
I think it's the collective awareness that we need to give from our souls to elevate the other souls. Punishing people, putting them in prisons, taking them to the courts, bringing it to the United Nations, who basically receive contributions from the nations that carry out these atrocities, is not going to work that way. We've been going in and out of this for millions of years, and we're still in the same position, even as a week ago last Friday. So I think it's got to be done, as Alex teaching, on the plasmatic level, on the field level, and we're just going to have to put stronger intentions and emotions into those things so the elevation can take place, if those souls want to receive. But Mr. Keshe gave a strict warning that he's not to be touched.
Yes, it is one way. I also asked my Baha'i community, what do you think about? And they said it's a long process to change the mentalities of peoples and put a finish to an end to the conflict in Middle East.
Yes,
and it's a matter of time. They said like this. They have said the same. We don't have to react, just to pray and wait. How long we will wait? Till many scientific elites of this planet will be killed, murdered. I think that we have to do something, to react also, not to punish, but to stop. Not all the people on this planet believe on the power of intention and of the soul, and we have to elevate them to believe in this. But how I can go to a leader and to somebody who is not interested on these things, maybe at the subtle level,
Yes.
just to send
It has to be on the
and
soul
change.
level. Yeah.
Yes, at the soul level.
It's the only way it's going to work. Handing them a piece of paper or an indictment or something else is not the way to go.
Can create more troubles and problems, give them ideas.
Stephen, you have your hand up.
Yes, hello. I have a question for Mr. Keshe if he wants to answer it. Working on designing or a diagnostic tool for being able to view the fields, basically to confirm them. We've talked about spectroscopy or specters or glasses, so to speak, where you would coat the lenses with different ganses so that you could create a focal point to see the aberrations or the 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 fields in a way that you could see how they radiate. When Dean was at the in Linz, we could see through the camera, you could see fields as the reaction to the overhead lights. Can we come? Do we need to, how to say it? And then we talked about the vacuum of the condition. Can you combine it in a way that we could be able to see the fields to confirm them so that we can start to work with them? Is there something about the lack of the matter, the lack of the magnetic field interaction, and the matter state that produces an aberration that could kind of the fields that we're looking to work with?
Mr. Keshe always reserves the right not to answer a question, but did you see the ball rotating around the cup? Of course you did.
Yeah.
Not trying to keep silent. It's just that what do you expect to see? This is what is your expectation?
Well, it goes back to when the experiments in Arizona were trying to fold the fields to create the dome, so to speak. How, in a way, positioning does come into play, or that you create a condition that folds the fields back onto themselves as opposed to them just continuing to radiate or it's like there's a balanced condition between the giving and the taking where you can fold the field. And so how, in a way, we seem to want to confirm that we're working in the right direction, and having the ability to view the aberration or the field interaction could make it not easier for us, but help us see what we need to see to work with it.
In new reactors, which you will see operating in the enhancement units, you will see this what you're asking for clearly, which means we will show the interaction of the fields, that their work, we will show what we call lights and friction of fields that shows the fields exist and they manifest themselves as we see it. So how you want to measure it, by intensity or by manifestation of it, is something in time we will show. There are tools, there are machines, we have systems that we can show this work. It's not that we will hide it, but as I said many times, I learned from our people that once we show something, it will be run, abused, and misused. And I don't see why we should show these anymore. Why we should go out of our way to show, and people just run and take without understanding, and people do what they like as we are the servants to them to deliver technology for them to steal, and then go and destroy whatever we built. This is part of what we are trying to stop. If foundation built something and delivered something, then it belongs to the foundation. And one of the reasons I'm very, very cautious about what we are delivering is because as if you remember, when we released the enhancement unit, what did knowledge seekers do? They thought it's very clever. If you would have done it with anybody else, they would have taken you to courts. They would have stripped you of everything. They opened a maglev unit and they showed it in public, how it's connected and what it is, and that's how Keshe Foundation makes it. And for that reason, I knew it was going to be done. We didn't release the original design. This is how law, the Keshe Foundation, knowledge seekers are, or the people who are around us. You do open and we give it to you, but the way it was done, I promise I'll never release the technology, no way to be done this way. We respond by the act of the Keshe Foundation as a whole, as a family. Who gives you the right to open the system and then go public with it and show it? You do that to Apple, you do that to the other ones, we see a lot of forgery. The way it was done, we respond the same way. No more, no less. You tell us, how can we do? Can you show? You show me one good reason that I have to. for you to go and print it tomorrow morning on the internet. And show it. You took us for a joke, so we respond the same way. This is one of the things which I have a lot of problem with the knowledge seekers. Show us the way, and then we do what we like with you. And then we go and make you everything possible. And this has become a pattern of work. It's become a pattern of delivering things which belongs to all of us and then destroying us with it. I can show you a lot of things, how you can read fields, how new technology looks, and how you feel the essence of it. But would that serve the work I do? No. What do you want to know? How to see, how to measure? Yes. We have developed technologies for it. We are working day and night on it. I work Saturday, Sunday, and 5 days on top of it. Has the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers worldwide respected the foundation? That's my biggest question to all of you. I've become a very realistic man because reality has hit hard with us in the past few weeks.
And
Why?
I understand what you're saying. I guess the question is I'm not asking you to give me anything or show me anything. I'm asking because I'm the last man standing and how I have to do this on my own and how I have to produce and I have to provide for humanity in the same way that you have done, because you won't always be there to guide us. I'm just trying to get an idea of things that if there's things that you learned that brought knowledge seekers down a certain path, I'm trying to follow that path with maybe a breadcrumb here, a breadcrumb there. I need to still be able to do this on my own. And that's why I don't need to see anything. I mean, I've done other things and.
No, I'm not speaking about you personally.
No, I understand that.
Talking about knowledge seekers as a whole, abusing and then taking and not putting anything back. And when people tell us, can you show us? You're not the only one. I had a big demand from an Iranian scientist in the past 48 hours that you have to tell me how you load your reactors that I can fly. You're a thief if you don't give it to me. I said, what? And it's your responsibility. My responsibility is to enlighten you, not to make you a thief. And this is part of what all this is about. And this is part of what we try to bring for the attention of many people, to be aware of your own conduct. We are not here to give and to give more and still be attached to everything they decide to attach us to. And this is what I originally object to nowadays, is why should we as foundation be there to give everything and at the end be the guilty party? It feels like literally knowledge seekers taking us for a ride. And it cannot be in this way, the way I see it anymore, because now we are teaching the teaching of the soul and understanding of the fields. Then what you want to steal? Why should it go from my essence for you to do something wrong with it? I sat and I watched how knowledge seekers literally took everything from the foundation. Everything possible was taken from the foundation. And at the end of it, what did we get? Everything is wrong with the foundation. Every now and then I hit this point with the knowledge seekers, and a lot of people, they think, oh, this guy is stupid. He doesn't do, we just wait, he'll give it to us and we run with it. But the new technology which is coming up is absolutely make everything obsolete for whatever we thought, but in a way doesn't make it obsolete. It makes it so advanced that you don't want to touch what you have learned, because this knowledge is so advanced with it, but it's so simple. The simplicity of it is the problem of it. You want to measure, you're quite welcome to measure. You want to understand, you're quite welcome. It's in the teaching. It's in my teaching on a daily basis. It's in the teaching on every teaching I've done. And needs to be understood that it can be extended. It doesn't need to be understood that be stolen.
Well, in a way, you're the parent that has given to the child and continue to
Too
give,
much.
and then at some point you have to cut the child off and they have to go, they have to leave the nest and provide for themselves. And that's what I always, that's why I was always curious about why there was, would put like timelines on things, you know, March 22nd, just, I know beautiful things are going to occur, but you already mentioned way back that it may take hundreds of years for us to understand this. Hopefully not, but why did the greedy children, why is time against them, or monarchs that only live to be a certain age before they see their plans They have that. They're fighting time. They're the ones that are propelling a lot of this. That they only have a certain amount of time to see their plans come to fruition. Although if you're humble and you're just trying to learn, time is on your side. As long as you're there to have fun and enjoy the process, the rate of return is not important. It's how it adds to your life, not your life's dependent on that. And what you've given us with the health portion of it should bring peace to those people. That's what I'm struggling with, how people haven't found peace. What you've already put on the table, what you already gave them. What is that not? Well, I know you said, can't get no satisfaction, but haven't they? Isn't there? It's in that what you've given us already as far as the health component of this.
I don't know. We got to ask them, don't we? We got to ask them. We got to ask in what proportion are we going to give more? This is the part which I keep on asking knowledge seekers. How much more do we or are we going to give? And
yeah, how much
more are we going to be blamed we haven't given it up? This is, if you want to understand the work of the foundation and how to be in process of expanding the knowledge, is not a problem. In trying to come and take the knowledge, can I expand more? That later on becomes my problem I haven't given to. It's very disheartening in a way that you think the child is spoiled, but the child is spoiled because you give so much to. And this is part of the problem which we have with the structure of giving so much that whatever we give is not good enough anymore. I remember we had a guy from, where was he from? I think if I'm correct, he was from Romania. And he was one of the first series of knowledge seekers, and then he became part of the gang of the two who spread the poison to kill me in the teaching room. And he stood in front of me and he said, Mr. Keshe, whatever is in your brain belongs to us. You have to give it to us now. You're stealing from us. And I said, do you know what you're talking about? He said, yes, you're stealing from us. You're not giving us what is in your head. It belongs to us. I said, do you want to cut my head and take it home with you? To what extent do we go for these things? I don't understand. Where the audacity comes to ask to give unconditionally what you don't. This is part part of my lack of understanding human race in a way. But what you want to know is the knowledge given. Every time I work in the lab, the scientists who work with me, they tell you, but this is in the pattern. I said, yes, but you don't read the pattern. Because if you read the pattern, it's in the pattern. We don't crunch up something new. It's all in there. Whatever I teach you is inside the pattern. Why don't you understand it the way it's written? If you ask the people who work with me in the lab, they tell you, I carry on what I've written in the pattern and they see it. You have to read my work with an understanding of the work of the solar man and the work of the universe. Then you unravel it. This is why the Iranian scientists are so good at it. They can do it, they can unravel it, and they work with it. Why is it so hard for the others to do the same? Why do we have a problem when it comes to knowledge seekers who just do part of the work? Try to understand the teaching, even this Thursday teaching. In a very simple way, I thought one of the most important parts of the space technology, and unfortunately was not understood, and it was taken for granted. Now you tell me what you want to know.
Perhaps we could review that section of the teaching.
Yes, bring it up and let's see what you understand.
We need a timestamp. But maybe what I
The
was
second
just,
part.
yes, I know. I'm thinking that the same too. But what I was thinking is if you could put a hat on the plasma and some shoes and maybe an overcoat, like you could do with a ghost or a magnetic field, you could see its operation. But I don't think that's going to happen. It has to be done by a sensing of yourself. And obviously from experience of the fields and learning how you can replicate them within your own dynamic reactors. this teaching is for us.
And knowledge seekers need to understand into the addition of the work of the Keshe Foundation. As I said in the American teaching and other teachings in past week or two, and emphasizing more and more, is many of you have built all these reactors, and you stood the work of what I call a star formation. In the shape, if you understand, each one has made its own star formation. That's one base. And the three bases of the fields that you need in different levels to create the manifestation of the field, to become tangible. In a way, what I see and what we're trying to get you to understand and further develop is this, that forget about what we call the physical system and concentrate on the field. This is what the next generation of the work has to be.
Shall we continue it, or can we stop here for a minute?
Yes, why not? We can stop anyway.
So now we have no matter state here. We have fields here. We have interaction of fields here.
But do we see the gaps? That's the, do we can't, we see the emanations, but do we see the gaps? That's the, you see the give, but where's the take? Or that's why I've always, it's not that I struggled with the way that you used to drive or draw the maggrav fields, is that I think we've gotten away from that, and how you used to have the spiral in and the spiral out of sorts, that we keep missing the space or the gaps, and how the giving and how it's the giving, how one is, we see the one side, but we don't see the other side of it, or not that there's another side of it, but we don't see the totality of it, and how we can not imagine it, but how we can put it into a way of
physicality.
Well, not even that, because you don't want to take it to physicality. You want to have the lack of physicality as the imagery, although you rely on it to visually see something in a way. So that's why we always try to look at the spaces between the matter, to give us the imagery of the give and take, or the lack and totality, and the maggrav field and the effects and the interaction and the intermediary, because we don't see, because we've taken one out. How do you visually represent the two that still don't exist? That's the part I'm not as I'm struggling, but with how to share that. How do we share that knowledge, Mr. Keshe? What needs to kick us down the road a little bit more that way? Yeah, I know no space is space, but the fact that there's the fields aren't manifested matter, that it's the lack of it that makes them.
Stephen,
Yeah.
why don't you join the private teaching? You will know more.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I really am not. I can't move to that level because I'm not worthy. I'm sorry.
Don't be
What do you mean by that?
It's not that I'm not, because I'm not. It's like if you look at me, you only see my first name. I'm not. In a way, I'm trying to be as humble as I can so that I'm, in a way, I'm not even a human. I'm not even at that point of being a participant. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but it's from the up. It's trying to go from the complete other side of a taker to being, a giver, Mr. Keshe.
Yeah, I understand.
Because I don't want to disappoint. I don't want to fall into the trap that because you taught us a long time ago about giving, and not that I mean, it's a beautiful thing, the private teachings and everything else, but it's I'm not worthy. I can't control if I'm part of something that like that. Maybe you see, I consume it. I take it. So I have to hold myself back in a way. I have to teach myself not to be a taker. If that makes sense.
You're very welcome, Stephen, to join. And we're all at different levels of growing into the knowledge. So in the private teachings and here as well, all the souls are equal. There's no one higher or lower, even depending if you have more knowledge. As you see, Mr. Keshe comes in, he puts himself lower than everyone in the meeting.
No, I understand, but there are some that are more equal than others. And to join, I just want to be like I want to be the humanity that's without the private teachings, without I want to gain on my own in a way. I want to be a part of it, but I'm holding myself back because of what I've been able to do it's enabled me to progress without taking which I don't need at this point. There's a process to my growth, and it comes through holding back.
Is that fear to let go what you have?
I sense
No,
the same.
it's not fear. It's not fear. It's that power corrupts, and power corrupts absolutely, unfortunately, and that is what is the thing that dangles. And Mr. Keshe has already talked about this. Is that's what comes from the knowledge, is that we can't, that it's if something is beautiful and it's pleasure, then you just enjoy it and you work with it because it brings you more joy and peace. But at some point, if it's taken away from you, or if something's not given to you, or you don't meet an expectation, it can sour the process a bit. At least for me, that's the way I see it. And so I've been holding myself back for years, but I work with it on my own to try to gain things. And when I find something, I show them, and I'll show people what I've done. And if they see what I see, that's great. But most of the time, it's just for me to enjoy, because but the sharing of it with people is also joyful. So it's not fear. There's just, I know humanity. I know you can see it, and it plays out. And that's why I was talking about time, and how time is on my side now because of what Mr. Keshe has given me with regard to the health. And that when I have something to share, I share it. I don't hold it back. I'm not trying to, even if I have no clue on what I'm talking about, I'm hoping that the discussion will strike someone, and that will motivate them to seek more knowledge, if that's possible. Sorry if I rambled on about that.
No, you explain your emotion completely and fully understood. It's in a way how we've been treated by so many of the humanity, not necessarily knowledge seekers, that it's become a bit harsh to adjust to, and in a way we try not to brush everyone the same way or treat the same one with the same stroke of a brush, as we say in English. But in reality, how much can we share and don't see anything to be put back in to be shared?
So in a way, Mr. Keshe, I'm the space. I'm the space between the fields. I'm trying to find an equilibrium. Can you talk about the I think I've tried to say this before. In the matter state, we have the change in condition, where there's the energy from the solid to the liquid, or the liquid to the gas. In that kind of context, can you talk about the fields and how it's like a natural process change? It's not, isn't that the only true constant, is change? That the fields positional, I mean, you showed us with the magnets and the positional balance and everything. So that's why I was, when you started, and maybe it's more into this, into what we're watching. Should we continue?
Yes, you can watch and see what we can do. In a way that the interaction of the field has to be considered, and not the motors and reactors. This is where the next step in understanding the work of the universal physics come into operation, where we don't look at the tangibility, we look at the field forces effect. We don't look that we have Ganses. We create a condition that the fields of the universe become interactive in a condition and a position that we want. In a way, as part of the new teaching, as you saw in the ball rotating around an imaginary center to show its position, that imaginary center has to become the soul of the man. The soul of the physicality deciding if it wants to put its field strength to manifest for us to see the reactors, not by building reactors to show the manifestation of a system. The knowledge of the knowledge seekers has to become part of understanding the creation of the fields, absorption of the fields, separation of the field, division of the fields, through the use of the interaction of the field of the soul of the man and the soul of the physicality. The way the interaction of the fields of the earth and the sun creates the daylight and gives different light in different positions and angles. The soul of the man and the soul of physicality of the man has to understand this, that it creates the same. In interaction of different field strength in different angles, it creates different matter condition of the manifestation if they wish. The way that the field of the sun and the earth in a given angle creates the trees, and in another angle creates the shrubs, and in another angle, in another part of the world, creates another tree and a different shrub. So now we understand that the knowledge has to extend into the dimension of fields that through it, if we wish, we can create the matter state or manifestation state without the matter. We know that this exists as we create gases which are not in a matter state, but in a condensed plasma condition, that we see and absorb and observe them as plasmas in motion. Only when you bring the fourth state of field as an inertia, which you come to touch, then the gas manifests itself in a matter state. Before that is in the state of plasma. And it is the way that many of you,
excuse me, could you stop it for a second?
Have to start.
Can you go back to where it said the fourth state of something? Or can you, Mr. Keshe, do you know what you said at that point?
Can you play it? The soul of the man and the soul of physicality of the man has to understand this, that it creates the same. In interaction of different field strength in different angles, it creates different matter condition of the manifestation if they wish. The way that the field of the sun and the earth in a given angle creates the trees, and in another angle creates the shrubs, and in another angle, in another part of the world, creates another tree and a different shrub. So
can you stop that? Only that, please, Mark. Just 1 second. If you understand just this 2 or 3 minutes, now you will see why a lot they are, doing something without understanding what they are doing. And let me put it like this. If you see who is praying and the way they manifest the praying without understanding what they are doing. So this is one of the things we used to do something or hear something or mimic something without understanding. So you can continue, please, if you want.
That the knowledge has to extend into the dimension of fields that through it, if we wish, we can create the matter state or manifestation state without the matter. We know that this exists as we create gases which are not in a matter state, but in a condensed plasma condition, that we see and absorb and observe them as plasmas in motion. Only When you bring the fourth state of field as inertia, which you come to touch, then the gas manifests itself in a matter state. Before that is in the state of plasma. And it is the way that many of you, many of the knowledge seekers have to start working without.
So that was the point that you said the fourth state of inertia.
Yes. Somebody listen at last.
Why did you describe it that way? What
I call the fourth state of inertia is interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of physicality, which with the interaction of inertia, field forces, lead to the physical manifestation of the man. That's what it means. You cannot have a manifestation without inertia. It does not exist. You cannot have. So when you have the soul of the man, when you have the soul of physicality, when you have the dimension of physicality, you need an inertia, field force, to allow the manifestation of it. It has a strength of its own. It's not like inertia of the earth, because it's a structure within itself. Body of the man is a cluster of itself. And to exist, for a liver to exist, it doesn't depend on the earth inertia. It depends on its own internal inertia. You have, when I teach, you have to go into the depth of all the teachings, not just what you hear at that moment of time. When we say the body of the man is a sealed envelope, it's a planet on its own. Inertia of the body of the man creates your kidney, not inertia of the earth, matter state. So you need that fourth state of inertia, which is the inertia of internal structure of the body of the man, which comes from interaction of the physical dimension of the physicality and the soul of the man, the physical physicality of the soul. It's very simple. You look at the inertia just for Earth to convert the energy into matter. You need the inertia inside the body of the man of its own to lead to creation of the physicality of the man. We call it the fourth state of inertia, which is the inertia of the body itself. Every entity, every sealed entity has its own inertia. Moon has one, Saturn has one, Earth has one, Sun has one. So why can't the body of the man has one? Just because you never consider it? That's what it's called, the fourth state of inertia of the physical, the body of the man itself. It's impossibility to have a body, physical body, without conformation of its inertia in respect to its environment. And it's there from the beginning. Every entity to manifest itself needs to have its inertia of its time and space. It's in all the teaching.
I think Kay wanted to come in.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Cash. Thank you for all the wonderful insight. Is my understanding correct? So if our body, our physicality wanted to manifest itself, let's just say the kidney, we need to understand the inertial value of the kidney, which means we need to understand the matters that's created and built up that kidney, so that we have to create the inertia of that particular elements which makes up the kidney. Is that my understanding?
What do you mean?
If I wanted to create a kidney inside the body, if the body is missing the kidney, and as you said, the body is a sealed entity and has got its own inertia. So how else are we going to find the value of the inertia of a particular cell or a particular organ within our body?
No, the inertia of the body of the man is created by the interaction of the fields of the soul of the man and the soul of physicality. In respect to the soul of physicality, dimension of his existence in the matter state of the earth.
How can we tap on a particular inertia if it is such a general value
between the soul of physicality? You see, the inertia in the body of the man is a dynamic inertia. It's a totally different than a matter state, because the Gans inertia is very much different than a matter state inertia.
Too deep.
No, too simple.
Very simple.
God
it's
bless
the
both
simplicity of it. It's simple. It's you cannot. You see, the inertia of the body of the man is a complex inertia, because Earth's inertia is not that complex. It's got the inertia of the liquid, the solid, and the gas. The inertia of the body of the man has the inertia of a plasma plus a solid state. But it uses its solid state to sustain only bones. The composite of the other side is a plasmatic inertia. That's why we see muscles, tissues, blood, whatever.
So, Mr. Keshe, are you saying that if we wanted to create an inertia, say the muscle, we have to create the field strengths of the same value of the muscle?
Yes, but it's a composite.
And how are we going to achieve that?
Talk to your soul. That's what your soul of physicality does. Is a collect. If you really look at it, the soul of the physicality is, in a way, the field spectrum of the full strength of all the matters which are created by the inertia of the physicality. And the only difference we have, as I said, you got to understand each environment has got its own composite inertia. The Maghreb is not composite, it's accumulative. The inertia is a composite field. That's where the difference is. When you have gravity, the fields build on top of each other collectively to create a bigger strength. When you have inertia, it's what we call, it's per individual structure. It's a composite. Magravs are accumulative. They add on top of each other. They make. That's why they can span the universe.
I shall be soon joining private teaching.
I think you need time with Jalal. You soon get there.
I 100 euro now. The private.
He's too hard to get hold of. I'm trying to phone him since I've left Linz. It's very difficult to get hold of him. He's busy, and I don't want to intrude either. But I would love to get into private teaching. I have a lot of background knowledge.
The thing is, the knowledge seekers have to understand the totality of the teaching. This is the problem.
So Mr. Keshe, can you say that there's intermediary inertia and there's matter state inertia? Those are two different things.
Pardon?
So when you described inertia in our you at one point you drew something G plus M as the field state, and then G plus M plus I as the intermediary, and then at the bottom you put the I for the inertia. So there's a intermediary inertia that's different than the matter state inertia.
Yes, it's the inertia of the plasma. Inertia of the plasma is the inertia of the universe. Inertia of the matter is the energy of Earth, matter state. Plasma has a different inertia, different composition of inertia.
But it doesn't, so what's the word I'm looking for? Not law, there's not a law, there's a condition that exists that differentiates the two. Why you said the fourth state, that's what it kind of threw me for a loop when you said that one.
Yeah,
that's where I
because it
missed
is the fourth state. Soul is one, soul of physicality is two. The physicality is third. And then you have the inertia, fourth state fields, which leads to the creation of the physicality.
Mr. Keshe, when you put this question one weekend, one teaching, you said, it stays in my mind, you said the soul interacting with the earth make the physical soul, and what the soul make when interact with the space. Is it connected to this question that you put out to the knowledge seeker?
No, in a space, doesn't matter. Earth is a point of a space. It's no different. It's just you, as a knowledge seekers, are fixed to where you're born. And you cannot see a bigger picture. And this is what we are trying to push. See a bigger picture. Come out of the village of Earth and look beyond. You have different conditions. You have different positions. You see, the inertia of the plasma, which comes from the interaction of the plasma of the soul and the plasma of the soul of physicality, which is the totality of it, is different in every position of the universe according to interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of the planet or the environment. That's where it's dictated. This is how, if you go into the teaching, I explain each neutron in each universe has different amount of energy or magnetic field or a plasma or interaction of the fields in it. which is that the denominator of it. A neutron on Earth, a neutron in the center of the galaxy is exactly the same energy field inside in this universe, not in the other universes.
Do the entities in the universe, is that what they lack, the ability to create the inertia that provides for the manifestation, or not all, but is that
Yes.
where we're going to go, where we exchange those two knowledges?
Yes, where everybody will come with a new growth. Yeah. Just 1 second, please. Just very much, please. 1 second. You see, we have to understand how our totality of understanding of the creation is. You got to remember everything at the same time. In the design of the new systems which is going to be used in the enhancement on the flight, it's the accumulation of the totality of the knowledge which is literally spreads across all the patterns and the books and the teachings. Very, very, very fine points are put in position that is in teaching, but nobody takes notice. That the cornerstone of any flight or creation of life. This is what I say. You have to listen, and when not only listen, when you make things, when you do things, you reach to a working system, something which you can see or at least deliver something to you that what you were expecting.
Mr. Keshe, it's Dean here. Can I ask a quick question, please? Thank you. So the soul and the soul of physicality, how does the soul manifest the physicality? Is it a thought? Is it an intention? Is it in the collective consciousness? Is it just
No,
the
it's the
soul's
interaction is initially is the interaction within the womb of the mother. which itself is an intermediary between the soul of the child, her soul, and the soul of the planet. In fact, if you take a bigger picture of the whole thing, what we call Maghreb is the soul. Is a reflection and the interaction of the soul of the planet with whatever it's on its way and what it interacts with.
So what happens then when the interactions are, let's take the example of it being a CD-ROM. When that CD-ROM's full up, do you just change the CD-ROM?
It never fills up. It never fills up.
Right, okay.
It never fills up because you have to understand the way the plasma works. Plasma is a three-dimensional and it's forever expanding inwards as much as outwards.
So if
like
you interact with the... Oh, sorry, Dina.
That's okay. No, go ahead, Stefan.
So if you interacting with the Maghreb, so if our soul interact with the Maghreb, can materialize everything then?
Depends what you use as a Maghreb, what condition you create. Earth is a Maghreb.
Earth is a Maghreb. Ah, yeah, okay. So you can do, okay. So you can substitute the blue Maghreb with the Maghreb of the Earth.
Yes.
Mr. Keshe, when you create the entity, what do you? Where is the permission that you get to interact with the soul? Is it because Earth is the nursery
I
that
have a permission to interact with any soul. Sorry about that. That's the wrong question to ask.
Okay. For us to create the entity on this planet, or if you created the entity on this planet, and we're trying to work backwards to understand how that was possible, that others did. Are there souls that are waiting to be created, or not?
No.
Not waiting to
Souls
be.
are an interaction of the time and the space. What happens in that time and that space? If the condition is right for certain type of souls to be created, will be created. It's like the womb of the mother. You can't put egg and the sperm on the table and wait them to be created a child.
But you still rely on the soul of the egg and the soul of the sperm. But before that occurred, where did the soul of the soul emanate from the creator?
Yes.
And so how do we put ourselves in a position to, oh boy, no, I don't want to ask that question now.
No, go on, ask the question.
Oh God, I can't answer that question.
That's
why did I call, oh boy? By me connecting with the creator, I was able to get the permission to create the soul in this.
You don't get the permission. It's a right. If it's available, it's the right. That's a very big difference. You see, I always say, and many people don't listen. If you ask and you're given, you don't need to think is right or wrong. If you don't ask and take, then you put yourself in a position of compromise. You do not know if you're stealing, or they're stealing from you, or you're not stealing from someone else. When you ask a woman to marry you, and she consents to the marriage, you have the right as a wife, as a partner. If She puts condition on it. If my father says yes, if my mother says yes, if my grandpa says yes, then you have to get that permission. But at the end, if you don't, then you have to stand the point of compromise to hide from the father and to hide from the mother and the rest of it. This is what I say. If you ask and you're given, you do not commit a crime. You do not take anything. If you ask and you're given, and then the one who gave has stolen from somebody else, it's their problem. You're not part of it. And this is the same. If you have access to the soul and you're given that permission, that's your right. It's a very, very clear.
And if you're given and you didn't ask,
that's your right too. That's the best way. But doesn't mean just because you're given, you got to take it.
well, in a way, if you're given life, if you're given a life, aren't you given a responsibility too? To take care of it?
Yes, but if you accept it, that's why we accept our children. And we take all the things with it because we accepted to create them, we accepted to nourish them. In a coming time, the very, very short coming time, I will teach the mothers how to elevate the soul of their children in the womb. That you do not even need to go through physical birth, if you understand. It's a way which is done in the universe. We plant the soul, and with it, the physicality appears. In the life of the man, we put the physicality and the soul appears. Big difference. Even though they both lead to creation of life. This is part of the work which is ongoing at the moment.
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes.
Yeah, I asked you a question before. I'm not sure if you saw it.
It's that Ike from
this is Ike.
California, yes.
Yeah, the interaction of two plasmas, soul of the man, soul of physicality, it creates a field. Now, when there's interaction with three plasmas, like soul of man, soul of physicality, and then the third entity, like a mental picture of an apple or orange, it manifests the matter, which is the apple. So my question becomes, what are the fundamentals of plasma direction? Like, are these like intensity of concentration, or how do we know that we put in that fields out there?
We are preset for it. by our in a physical dimension, we are preset. It's totally different than going and looking for it. The body of the man on earth is already preset for certain strength. You cannot go above it and you cannot go below it.
Yeah, interesting.
Our body, due to its genetic structure, is preset. How much plasma it can hold, how much plasma it can give.
Excuse me, it's like a matrix for every entity. I mean, a common matrix for human being, a common matrix for trees, for plants, for animals. It's like this?
Yes, it's preset.
Yes, preset. It's a matrix, yeah. It's from divine matrix for everything. He made
No,
it.
it's a condition over millions of years, which allows life to exist to multiply and manipulate certain conditions.
So do you believe in Darwinism?
Pardon?
Do you believe in the law of evolution, Darwinism?
We always are part of the universal Darwinism, not just Darwin as human race.
Mm-hmm.
We progressed, not the way we came from monkeys to something else. We progressed according to our environment. It's two different things. Darwinism, the way Darwin explains, is very much far from reality, but in essence of understanding, yes.
It's like a process of evolution, but not like Darwin.
No, so yes, in a way it's a
Universe.
process of evolution, but now we understand that evolution is dependent on many factors. It's not something, in a way, it's the interaction of the fields of the point of existence or manifestation.
What is the role of DNA on this process?
Nothing. It's just a memory bank. It's just a floppy disk.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a floppy disk.
Yes.
Or say the manifestation at point of need.
Thank you.
Maybe it's the same. The beauty of it is, would mankind in a time to come, through interaction of the soul of the man, will lead to creation of a new life? And the answer is yes, but man has to learn. Now we plant the soul, and then we get create physicality, as I said before. And now man creates physicality, and then from it creates the soul, which leads to manifestation of form physical life. Very different. The motion for this change has already set in time or next month.
Could you repeat that again?
The process for mankind to be able to create life through the essence of the soul, which leads to physicality, is already started. we are doing a lot of things in the background to prepare humanity for what is to come. But it's so in front of you that you don't see it.
Part of it, we saw it just now.
You're welcome. I hope so.
Good morning, Jalal.
Yes, good morning.
Well, good morning, yeah. See, we were discussing something. We usually divert from some subjects into other things because it's coming up. In some of the teachings, which is not relevant to part of the teaching, but I put little warnings out for different things over time, over years, for people to understand, and somewhere down the line might save a life or a pain. It's very much like when we taught you how to use cheese, not go to the dentist, and how to use calcium for the ladies in time of their menstruation that they don't lose the bone from their hip. Something which is now in front of us, something which is very important for many of us, especially the young group of people who are work of athletes, is many of these shining tops, what we call fluorescent top, luminous tops, they wear to be green or pink, and athletes wear. It's in the report of the scientific world for the people who develop these materials that they have the health hazards, but it's never been shared by public or to public. And it's important, it's crucial that knowledge seekers are aware that some of these, what we call shining tops or running jogging suits or whatever, can create a long-term effect in the third or the inner layer of the skin of the man, which can lead to further complications. Chemicals they use to embed in plastics or polypropylene or nylon or whatever they use, in effect, when it's used in certain ways, can lead to all sorts of diseases. And this is what we say to the knowledge seekers: be careful in what you buy or use as a sportswear, especially these which are luminous and the ones which are coming into the market very rapidly in the past few years. Now we see many children with the new diseases we didn't know before. So if you're a father or mother or whatever, or you're a runner, be careful in what and how you buy these products to use. It's a general warning because we can't go any more in detail. Try to use natural substances.
And the closer of the Keshe Foundation, that they have guns, they do the opposite. Then they
No, these are built for the energy way. They are built in a chemical way. It's totally different. Ganses are energy balance system. These are matter state chemicals.
What type of material is that, Mr. Keshe?
Well, you see sports runners wear bright colors and all sorts. But you have to be careful. You're seeing more and more people are running into problem in those ways.
Are you
Just have
referring
to be very careful.
like a jogger that runs on the roadway where cars, and sometimes they have a reflective strip or something on their clothes so
We are
that
not talking about that. We are talking those which are actually woven.
okay.
These are totally two different things. I have to go into another meeting. I do apologize. I'll try to come back. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all your
Thank
time
you.
today. Thank you very much.